The story begins with light. Soft, pale sunlight spreads across the eastern horizon, turning the sky above the Nile a gentle shade of gold. The first rays touch the surface of the river, and the water glitters like woven silk. A cool breeze flows along the water, carrying the scent of papyrus reeds, damp earth, and the faint sweetness of lotus flowers that begin to open in the morning light. The river is calm, so calm that it reflects the sky perfectly, as if the heavens lie just beneath the surface. You stand on the riverbank, bare feet touching the soft, cool sand. The world is quiet, still, almost sacred. This is dawn in ancient Egypt, a moment of beauty, a moment of peace, a moment that has remained unchanged for thousands of years. The air is warm but gentle, promising another sun-filled day in the land of the Nile. In the distance, you hear the first sounds of life awakening: the low call of water birds, the rustle of palm leaves overhead, the soft splash of a fisherman's oar, the faint voices of farmers beginning their day. The city of Waset, known later as Thebes, begins to rise from its sleep. You watch as the sunlight climbs higher, revealing more of the river. Small boats made of reeds drift silently, their shapes reflected on the surface like shadows. A fisherman stands in one of the boats, casting his net with slow, practiced movements. His arms work with a gentle rhythm, in sync with the flow of the river. The soft splash of the net is the only sound around him. Nearby, a small group of children gathers clay jars, carrying fresh water back to their homes. Their laughter is light, like bells in the morning air. A young woman kneels by the water, washing linen cloth. She wrings the fabric carefully, letting droplets fall back into the river like tiny beads of light. The Nile is more than a river. It is life. It is breath. It is the heartbeat of Egypt. And in this quiet dawn, you feel its calm energy surrounding you completely. A man leading a donkey walks along the riverbank, heading toward the fields. The baskets on either side of the animal are filled with seeds for planting. He nods gently as he passes, a warm, peaceful greeting shared between early risers. The sun continues to rise. It touches the tops of the palm trees, the rooftops of mud brick houses, the painted walls of temples, and the carved stone statues that watch silently over the city. The day has begun, but it begins softly, like a long, slow. You walk along a sandy path, leading away from the river and toward the edge of the city. The houses are made of sun-dried mud brick, simple but sturdy. Their walls are smooth, painted in earthy tones, with woven reed mats covering the doorways to keep out insects and the dry desert wind. The first people step outside, a woman sweeping her doorway, an elderly man stretching in the warm light, a group of boys carrying baskets of grain, a girl balancing a clay bowl of bread on her head. Everything moves with calm, practiced ease. The city is never loud in the morning. It wakes gently. You pass a small courtyard where a mother feeds her goats. The animals bleat softly, nudging her hands as she offers them figs and greens. A young boy sits beside her, tying strands of palm fiber into rope. His movements are careful and slow, concentrated but relaxed, the rhythm of a life attuned to nature. Further ahead, you see a baker's workshop. The smell of fresh bread fills the air with warmth and comfort. Inside, two men grind grain using a large stone quern. They push the top stone in slow circles, letting the flour fall into a bowl below. Another worker kneads dough on a wooden board, sprinkling flour with deliberate movements. The oven glows like a small sun, a clay dome heated from the inside. The baker smiles, as he places loaves inside using a long wooden paddle. The warmth of the room wraps around you like a soft blanket. You breathe in deeply, letting the scent of fresh bread calm your thoughts. As the city comes alive, you notice the first bright rays touching the tops of the temples. The largest among them is dedicated to Amun, the Hidden One, the King of Gods. Tall pylons rise into the sky like mountains of stone, carved with scenes of kings, gods, and offerings. The walls glow in the sunlight, golden and majestic. A line of ram-headed sphinxes stands beside the entrance, each statue watching silently with calm, powerful presence. Their stone faces are timeless, untouched by wind or sand. Priests in white linen robes sweep the walkway, moving slowly and gracefully. One carries a small bronze censer, letting curls of incense drift into the air, a soothing blend of myrrh and frankincense. Another priest places fresh lotus flowers at the foot of a statue, their white petals shining softly. You step closer to the temple courtyard. It is quiet inside. A sacred quietness, not silence, but the presence of peace. Doves circle above the columns, their wings fluttering gently. They perch in the shadows, cooing softly. Two priests chant near the sanctuary, their voices steady, low, and melodic. The sound echoes gently within the stone walls. Like water flowing in an ancient cavern, the chants are not loud. They do not rush. They rise and fall slowly, like breathing. You stand near a carved pillar and close your eyes, letting the vibrations of ancient prayer move through your chest and mind. There is no rush here, no urgency, only calm. The morning is fully awake now. Smoke rises from hearths. Children run across courtyards. Farmers walk out toward the fields. Boats begin to travel the Nile, their sails catching the first steady wind. The heat of the day is coming, but for now the warmth is gentle and soothing. You take a slow breath and step forward, ready to continue your journey through the ancient land of Egypt. The day has just begun, and the calm of the morning remains with you, soft and comforting, like the touch of sunlight on the cool river. Leaving the temple behind, you walk along a narrow, sandy path, leading deeper into the living quarters of the city. Here the soundscape changes. Quieter footsteps on packed earth, soft voices coming from shaded courtyards, the bleating of goats tied near doorways, the slow, rhythmic scrape of pottery being smoothed. The houses are made of sun-dried mud brick, their walls cool and thick, painted in pale tones of cream and clay. Door frames are decorated with simple geometric patterns. Palm fronds hang over thresholds, casting broken shadows on the ground. This is where most families live, in simple, comfortable homes designed to stay cool under the powerful sun. A young woman stands at her doorway, grinding herbs with a stone mortar. The scent of coriander and mint drifts softly toward you. She pauses to greet you with a warm nod, her eyelids relaxed, her movements unhurried. Children play nearby, rolling clay balls in the dust and chasing one another around the corners of houses. Their laughter echoes lightly, mingling with the distant calls of water birds from the Nile. The entire neighborhood feels peaceful, like a world gently wrapped in sunlight. A friendly gesture invites you inside one of the homes. You step through the doorway into a shaded main room. The temperature drops pleasantly. The thick mud brick walls insulate the interior from the rising heat outside. Light filters in through a small opening above, casting a narrow beam across the floor and illuminating floating dust particles that dance slowly in the air like tiny fireflies. The furniture is simple. Woven reed mats, low wooden stools, clay jars, baskets filled with dates and grain, a carved wooden chest for clothes. On one wall, you see a painted symbol of Taweret, the protective goddess of childbirth and home. Her form, half hippopotamus and half woman, radiates strength and comfort. A mother sits on the floor with her young daughter. They are making bread rolls together. The daughter presses the dough into simple round shapes, her small fingers leaving delicate imprints. Her mother smiles gently every time the girl looks up for approval. Nearby, a clay oven glows faintly. The warm smell of baking grain fills the entire room. An older woman sits in the corner, weaving a mat from palm fibers. Her hands move with slow expertise. Cross, fold, tighten, cross, fold, tighten. A rhythm repeated thousands of times throughout her life. The room is filled with quiet work, undisturbed, harmonious, each task part of the day's gentle flow. You sit for a moment on a reed mat. The air smells of bread, herbs, and sun-warmed clay. This is the heart of Egyptian life. Simple, steady, peaceful. A small doorway leads into an open courtyard. Here, the sunlight returns, filling the space with warmth and brightness. Courtyards are central to Egyptian homes, a place for cooking, working, talking, and resting. The courtyard is surrounded by tall walls, creating privacy and quiet. A fig tree stands at the center, its leaves trembling lightly in the breeze. On the right side, a woman tends to a small clay stove. She stirs a pot slowly, then adds herbs with deliberate movements. The aroma of lentils and onions drifts upward. A young boy feeds the goats, cutting palm leaves into smaller strips and setting them into a woven basket. Two girls sit together, painting small clay beads with red and blue pigments. Their hands move carefully, concentrating on each brushstroke. In another corner, a man sharpens a copper tool using a smooth stone. The scraping sound is steady and light, almost soothing. Everything in the courtyard happens at the pace of the sun. Slow, quiet, natural. You run your hand along the mud brick wall. It feels warm and slightly uneven, with the texture of clay mixed with straw. The courtyard is alive with gentle activity. No urgency, no rush, just the gentle unfolding of daily tasks. Inside a small alcove, you notice a household shrine, a sacred place for daily offerings. It consists of a small shelf of painted wood, a clay statue of Bez, the protector, a bowl filled with cool water, dried flowers, a few grains of barley. The matriarch of the house approaches the shrine. She kneels with a calm, steady posture and places fresh petals of white lotus into a simple clay dish. Then she lights a tiny oil lamp. The flame is soft, barely flickering. She whispers a short prayer, not hurried, not dramatic, just a gentle thanks for the day. As the smoke rises, you feel a wave of serenity settle through the room. Egyptian homes often blend the practical and the spiritual. This simple ritual connects the family to a long lineage of tradition and devotion. A narrow hallway leads into a small workroom. It is cooler here, the walls shaded, the floor covered in fine dust from woodworking and pottery. A carpenter works quietly at a low wooden bench. His tools are simple: bronze chisels, wooden mallets, smooth stones for polishing strips of leather. He shapes a piece of acacia wood, slowly carving it into a spoon. Shavings curl away with each stroke, falling gently onto the floor. The air smells of wood, sweet and warm. Across from him, his son shapes a small clay bowl. The wheel is simple, turned by hand. He dips his fingers in water to smooth the surface until it shines. The father glances over occasionally, not correcting, but encouraging with a soft nod. A basket of finished items sits by the wall. Bowls, spoons, small animal figurines, amulets, jars, tiny lamps, the room feels timeless. Like a place where craftsmanship flows naturally from one generation to the next, you touch one of the finished bowls. It is light, smooth, and cool to the touch. Handmade, simple, beautiful. Climbing a small set of stairs, you reach the flat rooftop of the house. The view opens wide, palm trees swaying gently, neighbors on nearby rooftops, smoke rising from cooking fires, birds circling above the fields. The glimmering Nile in the distance, Egyptian rooftops are quiet sanctuaries, places where families cool down, talk, and relax. A soft breeze moves across the open air, cooling the skin. A young man sits cross-legged, mending a fishing net. Each knot is tied slowly. With care, a girl beside him sorts dried dates into woven baskets, her fingers moving gently. An elderly grandfather rests on a mat in the shade, leaning against a rolled blanket. His breathing is slow, steady, almost like a soft chant. You sit on the rooftop edge looking out at the city. Life moves below, quietly, steadily, peacefully. The sun climbs higher, the day grows warmer. Yet here, in the breeze above the rooftops, you feel a deep sense of calm washing over you. Egypt's rhythm is slow, unhurried. Like the flow of the Nile itself, time moves differently here. Softly, gently, with the pace of nature. And as the morning deepens toward midday, you rise once more, ready to continue your peaceful journey through the ancient land. By the time you descend from the rooftop, the city is fully awake. The sun hangs high in the sky now, bright and powerful, filling every corner with warm, golden light. You walk toward the central square, the heart of daily trade and conversation. The air feels warmer, but not harsh, just full of life. The square is not loud, but gently busy. Merchants arranging jars of oil and honey potters displaying newly baked bowls, children running between baskets of dates, women carrying bundles of herbs, farmers arriving with donkeys loaded with vegetables, fishermen laying out fresh catches on woven mats. Everyone moves with a slow, steady rhythm, the natural pace of life in the desert heat. The scent of the market fills the air. Fresh bread, earthy grain, wood smoke, sweet figs, and the coolness of river water evaporating from jars. You walk past a woman selling lotus flowers, their white petals glowing softly in the sunlight. She dips them in a small bowl of river water to keep them fresh. A group of young boys passes by, carrying amphorae of beer made from barley. They laugh quietly, balancing the jars carefully so the contents don't spill. Two men haggle gently over a bundle of onions. But even here, the negotiation is calm, almost friendly. Nothing feels rushed. Everything feels purposeful. At one corner of the market, you find a baker selling fresh loaves straight from the morning oven. The bread is still warm, its crust lightly browned, the smell comforting and familiar. He carefully arranges them on a reed mat. Some loaves are shaped like sun discs, others like small domes, each embossed with simple patterns. A woman buys a basket of bread and thanks the baker with a gentle bow of her head. You watch as he uses a small brush to remove stray grains of flour from the display. He works with the care of someone who understands that these simple loaves are the heart of every Egyptian meal. Near the center of the square, you notice a perfumer's stall. The shelves are filled with tiny glass vials of scented oils, clay jars of myrrh, bundles of dried lotus, crushed petals, resin beads, small wooden spoons for mixing. The perfumer mixes a small batch using a bronze bowl, drops of sweet almond oil, a pinch of ground cinnamon, a small bit of myrrh resin, a swirl of blue lotus essence. As he stirs, a soft fragrance rises, warm, floral, calming. He smiles gently as a woman approaches, dabbing a tiny amount on her wrist. She closes her eyes, breathing slowly. A moment of serenity in the middle of the busy square. You inhale the scent too. It lingers in the warm air like a soft ribbon of sweetness. A little further, you see a potter seated on the ground, shaping wet clay on a small stone wheel. His hands move steadily. Press, lift, smooth, turn. The wheel spins slowly, powered by his foot. The clay becomes a jar, its sides rising gracefully. Beside him, finished pieces dry in the sun. Small lamps, water jugs, plates, storage jars, bowls painted with simple red designs. The potter does not rush. He works with the patience of someone fully present in the moment. His little daughter sits beside him, painting a small clay bead with a thin reed brush. She dips the brush in red pigment, then carefully paints a tiny spiral. Her tongue sticks out a little as she concentrates, a tender moment of focus and innocence. At the far end of the square, under a tall palm tree, a scribe sits with a sheet of papyrus and a wooden palette containing black and red ink. Two men stand before him, discussing something quietly. The scribe dips his brush, writing with slow, flowing movements. Papyrus rustles softly as he rolls it open and closed nearby. Children sit in the shade, copying simple hieroglyphs on fragments of pottery. Their teacher, a calm older man, guides them gently. He adjusts a child's hand, helping him form a straighter reed symbol. The lesson is not strict. It is warm, patient, and unhurried. Leaving the market, you turn into a smaller lane. The quiet click-clack of a loom carries through the air. You follow the sound to a shaded workshop where a weaver works on a long wooden frame. The cloth he weaves is pale linen, smooth and fine. Each movement is rhythmic. Pull, slide, beat, pull, slide, beat. The sound is steady, meditative. The fabric gradually lengthens, soft as river mist. A young woman dyes thread in a clay bowl nearby, stirring it gently until it turns a rich blue from crushed lapis lazuli. Her hands move slowly, carefully, as if she were stirring the calm surface of a still pond. In another courtyard, you see rows of newly made pottery drying in the sun. A small kiln stands nearby, still warm from the morning firing. The potter's assistant checks each piece carefully, tapping the sides lightly to hear whether the clay baked evenly. The soft tapping creates a gentle rhythm, a sound like small stones clinking together. A woman sits beside the kiln, polishing finished bowls with a smooth pebble. Each stroke adds a soft shine to the clay surface. The heat from the kiln mixes with the warm air, creating a comforting, sleepy stillness. The sun now shines directly above, casting short shadows and filling the streets with heat. But Egypt is used to this. The city adjusts. People walk more slowly, doors remain open for airflow, courtyards offer shade, work continues at a steady, gentle pace. You hear the call of a distant vendor selling cooled beer made from barley and dates. The sound is soft, almost melodic. A group of workers rests in the shade under a large sycamore tree. They share bread, drink water, and speak quietly. A donkey stands beside them, chewing calmly on straw. Dust motes float in the hot air, rising and falling like tiny golden sparks. You feel the warmth on your skin, not harsh, but enveloping, like a warm blanket. All around you, Egypt moves slowly, softly, with the pace of the sun. As you leave the city's center, the scenery changes once more. Palm trees line the path leading to the fields. The air becomes cooler as a breeze rises from the river. The fields stretch out before you, green and full of life. Water flows through irrigation channels, sparkling under the sunlight. Farmers work calmly. One tills the soft soil with a wooden plow. Another carries a basket of freshly cut greens. A group of women gathers flax, tying the long stems into neat bundles. Two boys guide goats along a narrow path. An older man repairs the irrigation banks. Their movements are slow, steady, and practiced. A water wheel turns gently near the river, its wooden paddles dripping water back into the channel. The rhythmic creak of the wheel creates a peaceful, sleepy sound. Birds wheel overhead. Ibises, herons, and small river birds gliding lazily in the warm air. A man stops to wipe his forehead with a linen cloth, smiling as he watches a child chase a butterfly. The fields feel timeless. A place where life has moved at this same gentle pace for thousands of years. You walk along the edge of the water, listening to the soft sounds of water flowing, leaves rustling, and animals moving slowly through the grass. It is peaceful. It is steady. It is ancient. As the day continues, you approach a small wooden boat tied to the riverbank. A fisherman sits inside, mending a net with slow, precise movements. He smiles and gestures for you to sit. You settle on a reed mat spread across the wooden floor. The boat drifts gently, rocking with the rhythm of the river. The water laps softly against the sides, creating a calming sound. Shadows from palm trees ripple across the surface. The fisherman casts his net. It spreads in a wide circle, sinking silently. A perfect moment, quiet, beautiful, eternal. The sun begins its slow descent toward the western sky. The day is shifting. The heat softens. Your journey through Egypt continues, calm, peaceful, timeless. As the sun begins its slow descent, the light changes, shifting from the bright gold of midday to a softer, deeper amber. You return toward the sacred district, where towering pylons rise like mountains of stone above the city. The shadows grow long, stretching across the ground like the outstretched wings of ancient spirits. The heat softens. The breeze returns. Everything becomes calmer, the entire city exhaling after a day of patient work. Palm trees sway gently. The air carries the faint scent of incense, drifting from temple courtyards. You walk slowly toward the great complex of temples, where columns rise high and stone carvings glow in the warm light. ChatGPT said, «Отлично, продолжаем». Часть 4 – это переход дня к вечеру. Храмы, обряды, шлях сфинксов, лодки на Ниле, колоннады, вечерний свет – самая атмосферная часть, очень кинематографичная. Объем – примерно 1500 слов, 12-15 минут озвучки. Когда озвучишь, напиши «Готово, парт 5». Part 4. Temples, Sphinx Avenue, and the evening light on the Nile. Sacred rituals, grand architecture, calm evening river, ancient processions. Returning to the sacred district. As the sun begins its slow descent, the light changes, shifting from the bright gold of midday to a softer, deeper amber. You return toward the sacred district, where towering pylons rise like mountains of stone above the city. The shadows grow long, stretching across the ground like the outstretched wings of ancient spirits. The heat softens, the breeze returns, everything becomes calmer, the entire city exhaling after a day of patient work. Palm trees sway gently, the air carries the faint scent of incense, drifting from temple courtyards. You walk slowly toward the great complex of temples, where columns rise high and stone carvings glow in the warm light. The lane of ram-headed sphinxes before you stands the magnificent processional road, lined with ram-headed sphinxes. Each statue watches quietly, their stone faces serene, their carved bodies resting steadily on polished bases. Rows of them stretch far into the distance, silent guardians of the sacred way. The sunlight touches their edges, casting soft highlights across their faces and horns. You walk between them, your steps slow and steady, as if joining a procession that has taken place for hundreds of generations. Your footsteps echo softly against the stone. A group of priests passes nearby, moving with calm reverence. Their white linen robes flutter gently in the breeze. One carries a bronze incense burner, from which thin wisps of smoke rise, carrying the delicate scent of myrrh and sandalwood. The smoke drifts across the sphinxes, curling around their still faces before dissolving into the sky. You reach the great entrance of the temple. Massive stone pylons rise above you, engraved with figures of gods and kings. The carvings catch the evening light, creating shadows that seem almost alive. A pair of tall flagpoles stands before the entrance, golden tips shining brightly. The courtyard inside is wide and filled with soft, echoing sounds. The tap of sandals on stone doves fluttering near the columns, gentle footsteps of worshippers, the quiet murmur of prayers. Priests sweep the ground with long palm brooms, moving slowly, purposefully. Two young novices carry baskets of lotus flowers, placing fresh petals in the basins of sacred fountains. The faint splash of water creates a calming rhythm. You step deeper into the courtyard, feeling the temperature drop as the stone blocks absorb the coolness of evening. The air feels almost sacred here, still, soft, timeless. Passing through the gates, you enter the hypostyle hall. It greets you with a breathtaking sight. Rows of giant stone columns stretch endlessly in both directions. They rise like a stone forest, massive, majestic, beautiful. Cool shadows lie between them, and narrow beams of golden light peek through the gaps above, creating stripes of brightness on the dusty floor. Hieroglyphs cover every surface, stories of kings, offerings, processions, and divine blessings. You run your fingers lightly across the carved symbols. They are cool to the touch, smooth in some places, rough in others. The air here feels ancient, as if it holds memories from centuries long past. You hear footsteps echo softly between the pillars. A priest chants slowly, his voice resonating within the stone halls. The sound is deep, soothing, and meditative, a steady hum that fills the space like warm air. Near the inner sanctuary, a small group of priests gathers. Their movements are slow and graceful. One pours purifying water into a stone basin. Another carries a tray of bread, oils, and lotus petals to place before a statue. They speak gently, as if not to disturb the stone gods. The smell of incense becomes stronger, sweet, warm, calming. The soft flicker of oil lamps illuminates carved faces and painted walls. Everything glows in hues of amber and gold. You stand quietly, feeling the deep tranquility that fills the sanctuary. It is not silence, it is presence. A sacred stillness that wraps itself gently around the soul. Just outside the temple's inner courts, you walk toward a sacred lake, an artificial pool surrounded by palm trees and stone steps. The water is perfectly still, reflecting the sky like a sheet of polished glass. Priests come here to bathe before rituals, using cups carved from obsidian to pour water over their shoulders. Tonight, only one priest is present. He kneels by the water's edge, cupping the surface gently with both hands. The ripples move slowly outward, disturbing the reflection just enough to create a soft, shimmering pattern. A warm breeze passes, carrying the scent of lotus flowers floating on the water. You sit on one of the stone steps, taking in the serenity. Palm leaves rustle overhead, Small insects buzz softly. The priest hums a quiet prayer. The lake feels like the quiet heart of the temple, a place for reflection, peace, and gentle stillness. As you leave the temple district, the city transitions into evening. You walk toward the riverfront, where the evening market gathers. Small stalls are lit by flickering oil lamps, casting a warm glow on baskets of food. Fresh figs, cucumbers, green onions, barley cakes, dried fish, pomegranates, honey in clay jars. Traders speak softly to evening customers. A woman sells roasted duck from a clay oven, its aroma drifting through the air like a warm invitation. Children carry water jars, their feet tapping lightly across the sand. Two musicians sit near the shore, one with a flute, the other with a small drum. Their music is gentle, slow, almost hypnotic. The sounds blend with the quiet lapping of the river, creating a peaceful tapestry of evening life. The sun finally reaches the horizon. You stand at the riverbank and watch as the sky turns from gold to orange to deep rose. The Nile reflects every color like a mirror made of light. Small boats drift gently by, their sails glowing as if lit from within. A fisherman steers his boat with slow, practiced strokes. A family gathers near the shore, washing vegetables as they talk softly. The water splashes quietly against their hands. The warm air carries the scent of river reeds, fresh water, and distant cooking fires. This is a moment that feels both vast and deeply intimate. A moment held gently between day and night. As the last light fades, a boatman invites you onto a small wooden skiff. You step inside and sit on a woven mat. He pushes the boat away from the shore with a soft shove. The river embraces you, rocking gently, moving slowly, carrying you deeper into the calm of the evening. Oil lamps flicker on nearby boats. Their reflections tremble on the darkening water. The sky deepens to shades of purple and blue. The first stars appear, soft and distant. The boatman rows slowly, each stroke creating a gentle splash. The sound blends with the night air, steady, calming, as if the river itself is whispering a lullaby. The world grows quiet. Everything slows, and you drift peacefully into the night. Your journey continues toward the heart of ancient Egypt's evening. A world where time moves softly, and the Nile carries the dreams of the land. The boat touches the riverbank, just as the last glow of the sun disappears behind the far horizon. You step back onto the warm sand, feeling the coolness of night begin to rise from the river. The city has shifted once more. Daytime work is done. Shops are closing, families gather, lanterns flicker to life in doorways and courtyards. The entire world becomes softer, like a painting washed in gold and deep blue. Palm trees sway gently against the darkening sky. Their silhouettes move slowly, as if rocking the city to sleep. You walk toward the heart of the town, feeling the peaceful transition from evening into night. The first thing you notice is the scent. Warm, inviting, calming. It drifts through the streets from dozens of small clay stoves, a blend of roasted duck-spiced lentils, fresh bread onions frying in oil coriander, and garlic sweet dates warming over coals. The city smells alive, comforting, welcoming. A woman tends a small hearth outside her doorway, stirring a pot of lentils. The firelight flickers across her face as she works calmly, completing the final meal of the day nearby. A man uses a stone grinder to crush herbs for dinner. The grinding sound is steady, soft, and rhythmic. Children carry bowls from one house to another, sharing food with neighbors, laughing quietly, their sandals tapping gently across the packed earth. Everything feels warm and communal. Egyptian evenings are not rushed, they are shared. A friendly gesture invites you inside a nearby home. You step into a courtyard lit by 3 small oil lamps. Their golden flames make the walls glow with soft, shifting light. The family sits on woven mats around low wooden trays. Dinner is simple, but beautiful. Warm flatbread lentils seasoned with cumin, fresh figs, a bowl of goat cheese, cucumbers, roasted duck honey in a small clay jar. They offer you a piece of bread, soft, warm, still fragrant from the afternoon's baking. The children eat slowly, unhurried, enjoying each flavor. An elderly grandmother sits at the edge of the group, her face lit gently by the lamps. She smiles with quiet contentment, watching her family enjoy the evening meal. The conversation is soft, light stories from the day, gentle humor, simple reflections, no noise, no stress, only warmth. The air feels thick with peace and togetherness. When the meal ends, a young boy pours cool water from a clay jug into small cups. Everyone drinks slowly, the coolness refreshing after the heat of the day. After dinner, you step back into the street. A group of neighbors has gathered beneath a large sycamore tree. Lanterns hang from its branches like small stars. A musician sits with a lyre, plucking strings softly. Another holds a reed flute, letting delicate notes drift into the air. The music is calm, slow, and soothing. Children sway gently to the rhythm. Adults sit nearby, leaning against baskets or low stools, eyes half closed, resting. The music sounds ancient, yet timeless, as if it has always belonged to the warm Egyptian night. 2 women clap gently, keeping a soft rhythm. A man hums along quietly, barely audible, more like breath than singing. The night feels full but calm, alive but peaceful. The musicians play not to perform, but to relax, to unwind, to share a moment of harmony. After a long day, you sit beneath the tree, letting the notes settle over you like warm sand. As the music continues, you walk deeper into the neighborhood. Some families rest, some talk, some finish small tasks. A woman weaves baskets under the gentle glow of a lamp, her fingers moving in slow circles. A man repairs a wooden tool, smoothing its surface with a small stone. An elderly scribe sits on a mat, copying prayers onto papyrus with steady, flowing strokes. The ink shines softly in the golden light. 2 children draw simple shapes in the dust with sticks. Stars, birds, boats on the river. A little girl practices writing her first hieroglyphs on a broken pottery shard. Her father sits beside her, gently guiding her hand. Everything feels quiet, but full of life. Egyptian nights are not loud. They breathe. You return once more to the central market square. It feels different now. The daytime bustle replaced by a gentle calm. Small stalls are packed away, but a few lanterns remain lit, casting warm circles of light onto the earth. A group of friends sits together on low stools, talking in soft voices. A young couple walks slowly through the square, enjoying the cool night air. 2 donkeys rest nearby, nibbling quietly on straw. The scent of warm bread lingers in the air, mixed with faint traces of spice and smoke. You pass a man lighting a final lamp for the night. He places it carefully in a niche outside his home, a small beacon to guide family members returning late. The flame flickers gently as he steps inside. Climbing a staircase to a nearby rooftop, you find several families resting on woven mats. Rooftops are the heart of Egyptian nightlife. The air is cooler here, the breeze steady, flowing from the river. A woman braids her daughter's hair under the moonlight. The girl sits quietly, eyes half closed. 2 brothers play a quiet game with small carved pieces on a painted wooden board. A young mother rocks her baby in her arms as he drifts into sleep. A father sits with his son, pointing at stars, teaching him ancient constellations used by travelers and priests. Voices are low, soft enough not to disturb sleeping neighbors. From the rooftop, you see lanterns glowing across the city, golden dots spread across the dark earth. Like small earthly stars mirroring the sky above, the world feels connected. Earth and sky sharing the same gentle light. In one corner of the rooftop, an elder begins to tell a story. 3 children gather close, their faces illuminated by a single oil lamp. The elder's voice is slow, steady, comforting, like the river's current. He tells of a wise king of old, a lost necklace made of blue lapis, a journey into the desert, a friendly falcon spirit, the gift of the rising sun. His hands move gracefully as he speaks, shaping the air with images. The children listen silently, entranced by the calm rhythm of his storytelling. You stand at a distance watching the scene, the warm light, the gentle voices, the soft movements. It feels like a moment suspended in time, a glimpse into the ancient tradition of stories passed down from one generation to the next. The night deepens, the breeze becomes cooler, sweeping across the rooftops and through the courtyards. Families begin returning indoors, carrying lamps to light their way. Shadows stretch long along the walls, moving with the warm glow of the oil flames. A dog barks once in the distance, then falls quiet. Someone sings softly as they close their door, a gentle melody meant only for comfort. You continue walking through the quiet streets. The city has settled into a peaceful stillness. Nothing is rushed. Everything is soft. The whole world seems to breathe slowly under the cool blue sky, and as the final lanterns burn low, you make your way toward the river once more, toward the heart of the night and the calmest moment of your journey. The city grows quieter as you walk once again toward the riverbank. The sound of footsteps fades. Doorways close softly. Oil lamps burn low behind woven reed curtains. The sky above is dark, deep, calm. A canvas of countless stars shining like cold sparks in the warm desert night. You breathe deeply. The air feels cooler now, filled with the scent of river reeds and faint traces of jasmine from nearby courtyards. The Nile moves slowly, its surface smooth and dark, reflecting moonlight in long, shimmering lines. This is the Egypt that travelers and poets have whispered about for centuries. The Egypt of night, still and eternal, alive in silence. You step closer to the water. A gentle wave brushes the shore, leaving a thin line of coolness on the sand. The river speaks softly, a faint lap of water, a whisper of reeds, a low hum of insects, a distant splash from a fish. The breeze brings all these sounds together in a peaceful harmony. Palm fronds rustle overhead, moving with the rhythm of the night wind. The sky is clear. Stars shimmer with an ancient glow. The moon rises, casting pale silver light across the water. You stand in the quiet and let the cool night air wrap around your skin. The world feels larger, yet somehow more comforting. From the riverbank, you look back at the city it sleeps. Lanterns glow faintly in a few windows, but most homes have gone dark. On the rooftops, families lie together beneath woven blankets, some already deep in sleep, others whispering quietly to one another. The breeze moves across the roofs, creating a soft, wave-like rustle. A dog curls up beside a doorway, tail wrapped around its paws. A cat stretches on a warm stone step, then settles into stillness. Every sound is muted, as if the night itself is guarding the city with gentle hands. You walk along the riverbank, where soft sand meets cool water. The night is so quiet that every step you take seems to settle deeper into the silence. Reed boats are tied to wooden posts, their ropes creaking faintly with the current. A few small lanterns hang from the boats, tiny flames drifting gently in the warm breeze. You pass a fisherman sleeping on a reed mat. His net folded neatly beside him, a clay pot of water rests near his head, cool from the river. Further ahead, a family sleeps in their boat. Mother, father, 2 children curled beneath a blanket. Their breaths rise and fall in perfect unison, peaceful and steady. The boat rocks slowly, cradling them like a calm cradle. You continue walking, feeling the deep tranquility settling into your mind. The Nile widens here. The water becomes smoother, as still as polished obsidian. The moon's reflection lies across the surface, shimmering slightly with the movement of the current. Stars mirror themselves on the water. A sky above and a sky below. A gentle breeze sweeps across your face. It carries the coolness of distant mountains and the warmth of desert sands. You sit on a large stone near the shore, listening to the soft sounds of the sleeping river. The night feels endless, vast, timeless. It is a moment that belongs to no one and everyone, a moment shared by the ancient world and every soul that has ever stood here. Not far from the riverbank stands a small shrine dedicated to Hathor, the goddess of love, music, and rest. A single oil lamp burns within it, casting a warm circle of light onto the sand. The flame flickers softly, barely moving in the still air. You walk closer. Inside the shrine, a carved wooden figure of Hathor rests upon a stone pedestal. Her face is gentle, calm, radiant in the firelight. A bowl of fresh lotus petals sits before her, their white edges glowing softly. Someone, perhaps a priest, perhaps a traveler seeking comfort, has placed them there tonight as a quiet offering. The scent of the flowers is subtle and sweet. You bow your head slightly, not in ritual, but in appreciation for the quiet beauty of this place. The night seems even softer here, as if the goddess herself is watching over the peace of the land. When you rise from the shrine, you begin walking back toward the heart of the city. The streets are nearly silent. Doorways glow gently from within, their lamps burning low. Someone sweeps the dust from his doorstep, a simple task done quietly before sleep. Another man sits on a stool, carving a small wooden amulet under the dim light of a lantern. A child sleepwalks gently into her mother's arms, who carries her inside with a soft laugh. Nothing disturbs the peace. Everything moves slowly, quietly, naturally. A group of neighbors says goodnight with soft voices, touching hands briefly in a gesture of warmth. You pass them and continue onward. You climb once more to the nearest rooftop. Families lie under woven blankets, their faces peaceful in the moonlight. A young couple whispers quietly to each other, voices low and tender. An elder sleeps with his hands folded over his chest, breathing deeply, dreaming of memories from long ago. A pot of cooled water sits near a small lantern, its surface shimmering with reflected light. You sit near the edge of the roof and look out at the city. The wind brushes your hair. Your shoulders relax. Your heartbeat slows. Egypt sleeps, and you feel that the night itself is offering you a place to rest. From the rooftop, you can hear the river again. Its voice is gentle, like a lullaby carried from a distant past. The soft lap of waves against wooden boats. The whisper of reeds moving in the night breeze. The faint buzz of insects in the warm air. Together, they create a sound as ancient as time itself, a sound that Egyptians have fallen asleep to for thousands of years. You lie back on the woven mat. The sky stretches above you, infinite, quiet, full of stars. A shooting star passes, leaving a brief trail of silver light. You breathe deeply. The scent of lotus, cedar, smoke, and water mixes in the air. Your eyes grow heavy. Your thoughts soften. Your entire body settles into stillness. The city sleeps. The river sleeps. The world sleeps. And you begin to drift too. The calm of the night wraps around you like a blanket of warm sand. The stars shimmer softly. The moon glows gently. The Nile breathes quietly. You feel safe. You feel steady. You feel peaceful. This night in ancient Egypt is not just a moment. It is a memory carried gently into your dreams. And as your breathing slows and your body relaxes, the world fades into a deep, comforting quiet.